Welcome back to Wonder Dreams episode 10. Obviously, in the last podcast, I went through quite a lot. It was about a 2.5 hour podcast. Obviously, I put 2 podcasts up all at once, like I said I was going to do. I did the video games one, and I also did the TV and films, and I linked in a couple of other stuff into it. So I hope you enjoyed those. This podcast will go up sometime, like a couple of days after those 2. Obviously, I said I was going to do the live podcast, which will be on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, but that'll already be gone by the time this gets posted up. For this episode, which I said was going to be the last one because I'm doing the horror ones, I was going to do it on like upcoming films, so I'm just going to do it on upcoming films, not because like I've run out of ideas, just because I've done so many ideas currently in the first 9, because I linked in like 6 or 7 to like 2 of them, which I shouldn't have done, and obviously I went on talking for like 4 hours on one of them and then cut it down to like a 1.5 hour one. So there's like stuff that wasn't in there that had already been done, which I could have done in like a separate podcast, but I didn't do. So we'll just jump straight into some like upcoming films which are currently coming up. The first one is Brightburn, which is coming out next month. It's basically the film's basically Superman. It isn't a Superman film, but it's basically what if Superman was evil. He crash landed from another planet on Earth, but instead of becoming a hero, it became something more sinister and evil. That's basically what that film is. It's by James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy films. I have seen the 2 trailers to it, which have been put up, and it does look pretty interesting, and I definitely will go and watch it when it does come out at the cinema. It's just because obviously I'm a DC fan anyway, and it basically is just Superman, a Superman film, but if he was bad, instead of becoming Superman, it becomes something more sinister. That's basically what it is. But obviously it's not been advertised as that. It's been advertised as like something else, but it basically is that on its own accord. Another film which I'm interested in seeing when it comes out, I don't know if you've heard about it, it's a Marvel film, New Mutants. It's out in August. It's basically a spin-off to the X-Men. It's based upon Magic, Wolfsbane, and a couple of other mutants. It's a horror film though. It's not like what X-Men normally is. It's a proper full-on horror film. Is the New Mutants. I've seen the trailers to it and it looks really good. Obviously, like I said, it's based upon Magic and Wolfsbane, if you know who those Marvel X-Men characters are. So it's basically based upon like the younger X-Men characters that wasn't like brought into X-Men, so they've obviously been brought into it in the New Mutants. Obviously it was supposed to be released in August, but apparently it's been delayed again. I don't know when till, but I'm just reading up some reports now, and let's have a look. It does say that it's been delayed again. It was supposed to be released in like January this year, and then they pushed it back to August, but apparently it's been delayed again. I don't know why. Oh no, it was supposed to originally be released April last year, but then they delayed it to focus on reshoots. August this year. Oh no, they've delayed it again. Apparently it's not going to be out till next year now. As Disney's like to dump the film apparently it's not going to be released at cinema. Apparently Disney's going to like dump it on the upcoming Disney Plus streaming service or on Hulu. So I don't know, it doesn't say if they are releasing it in the cinema. It'd be a bit pointless actually just to dump it on because Disney are doing their own like Netflix like service, which is Disney Plus. So it would be a bit daft to put a film that has been delayed so much and there's so many reshoots to just dump it on a year. Then again, it depends what budget it had, but if it didn't have a big budget, then they'll probably just dump it on that Disney Plus service whenever it does come out. I don't know when it's coming out. Another film which really looks good, it's another horror one. It's called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. It's a Guillermo del Toro film. Well, it's not directed by him. The screenplay is by Guillermo del Toro. It's directed by Andre Alvarado, who did do a horror film which I watched actually, which is really good. He's a Norwegian film director. Yes, he did Troll Hunter and The Autopsy of Jane Doe. If you watch those, they're 2 horror films. Troll Hunter was a found footage film about Bigfoot, and The Autopsy of Jane Doe was a paranormal exorcism kind of like film. So yeah, he did those 2. He's the one that's directing Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I've seen the trailer. The trailer came out properly earlier on this month. Basically, it's based upon a shadow of a family that's loomed large in basically the small town of Mill Valley, whichever, that's what the place is called. And it's set within a mansion. And it's based around some girl, and it turns into some like tortured life and oral secrets into like a series of different like stories. So it's like a anthology thing. So it's not, I don't think it's like one story. It's like split up into like different sections, but it's based around like the same one thing within that mansion or something. Well, that's what the trailer looked like anyway. It looks like it's like set between, you know, different sections, and then, you know, they like link it all in together as well. I'm just checking audition because, like I said, I'm not editing these down. Make sure that I'm not talking. Just like, yeah, it's all good. Obviously, It Chapter 2 is also coming out later this year. That's coming out in September. There's not a trailer for it yet, I don't think. There is a no. There isn't a trailer out for It Chapter 2 yet. I'm presuming they should be dropping one soon if it's out in 5 months. I'm presuming they should be dropping one next month. If, you know, they do usually release it. Well, you think they would, because you think they'd already released a trailer by now, because they've already released the Star Wars trailer, and that's not out till December. Now, It Chapter 2 is out in September, so that's out 3 months beforehand, so you think we would have already got a trailer for it yet. But basically, It Chapter 2, yeah, it's basically, if you've seen the original, the one with Tim Curry in it, is basically based upon the kids as adults. But obviously, the original, obviously, they've done it differently with this one. Obviously, the first one was based just on the kids, and you didn't have the adults in it, whereas both parts of the original one had it split up between two. You had the adults and the kids in both of them, but this one's just, for this like reboot or whatever they did of it, they decided to split it up into just 2 films. Have one film with the kids in it and then one film as them as adults. So that's what this one is. It's coming out in September. Obviously, I can't really comment much on it because there's no trailer for it yet. So I don't think there is. I haven't seen a trailer pop up anyway for it anyway. So I'm just having a look now to see if there's like a trailer. No, it doesn't look like there's a trailer for it yet. Well, like I said, this probably drop it next month. Usually they do release it like 3 or 4 months beforehand, or if they've already filmed it and edited, they mustn't have finished editing it. That's probably why there's no trailer. Some films are like that. They drop a trailer like a month or 2 before it's released, if, you know, they've had to do reshoots and whatnot. Another film which is fucking taking ages. It's taking ages for them to do a sequel. Is Zombieland. Zombieland Double Tap. That's out in October. It's been 10 years since the last one, actually. Obviously, all the original cast are returning, which is good. I don't know whether they're going to take the plot for this one, because what happened at the end of the first one? They were at the theme park ground thing, and then it went, I can't remember the top of my head, but by the looks of it, obviously it's going to be set. It's going to be set probably like 10-15 years after the first one. It's going to have to, because Abigail Breslin was a kid then, so it's going to be set sometime quite after. That's what I mean. I'm going to be interested to see what they're going to pull off with that. Obviously, like I said, there's no trailer for that yet, so there won't be a trailer for that another couple of months. I've just like read up reports on it. It doesn't really say much. It just says that they square off against new evolved undead zombies. There isn't really much that's been released about it, but they've already filmed it. They finished filming. That's probably why it's not out yet, because they only finished filming it last month. But like I said, there's not much. There's no plot, and there's nothing that's been released about that. Well, that's the film that I'm definitely going to watch when that comes out in October. So that's another one. There's actually a couple of films in October actually that are coming out. Then you've got the Joker film. I'm not going to watch that. It looks crap. That Joker, I mean, I watched it looks really bad. I mean, it was a bit unfair to Jared Leto, to be fair, you know, because they advertised him in Suicide Squad as like the main thing, and then he only gets like 10 minutes of screen time, and then they go off and give another actor a full-on film. You know, it was a bit unfair. I can see why, you know, he was pissed off, and you know, he hasn't done anything since, even though he has been advertised for the Birds of Prey film, because there was pictures which were taken of the Joker that's in it, but it wasn't Jared Leto that was doing it, but it's Jared Leto's Joker, which probably begs to differ. Obviously, Jared Leto couldn't have done those scenes because he's currently filming Morbius, so which makes us think that he's probably going to be in it, and what they'll do is they'll wait till he's finished filming Morbius, and then when they get around to doing reshoots, Jared Leto will probably film those scenes which were that, or they might just like use like a body double and not show his face, like it did in those like screenshots, those photos which were leaked online, and they might just like make him do a voiceover. But like I said, obviously they already did announce that Jared Leto was supposed to get his own solo film, but there's been nothing else about that. And then there was supposed to be a Joker and Harley Quinn like spin-off, which was like based upon the Mad Love comic books, like a therapy like film, and Dr. Phil was supposed to have been in it from like reports that I read, but nothing's come of that yet. Nothing's been announced. Obviously we don't even know if Jared Leto's decided to step down. Apparently he stepped down, but nothing's official. So, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did step down, because you know, with Joaquin Phoenix getting his own, you know, an origin film, which they could have just used Jared Leto anyway. I can see why, you know, he was pissed off and annoyed at that, and he hasn't he hasn't commented on it, because he did say he'd filmed quite a lot of scenes for Suicide Squad, and like 85% of them were like cut out, and obviously we never got them on when they did the extended cut. We only got like one extra scene, and that were it, and like an extra 15 seconds extended upon in the Arkham scene. But he said that he did say like in an interview that he did film a good 2-3 hours worth of stuff, and like I said, it was all cut. Obviously when they got around to cutting it, it just all got cut. And then, you know, there was an interview with the director a couple of months back, and he did say himself he regretted, you know, the editors and allowing Warner Brothers to cut out all those Joker scenes and not have it based more upon the Joker, and have, you know, because they did advertise it as the Joker being the main thing, so Warner Brothers falsely advertised the film for it being mainly based upon the Joker, and it wasn't. So I think that's why that film was slated, because, you know, they advertised it for something which wasn't actually what was advertised, which, you know, is understandable. They're also doing a Grudge reboot, not the Japanese version which I mentioned in the last podcast. It's an American one. I don't know what they're doing with it. That's out in January next year, and apparently it's going to be different. And the character's going to be adapted differently. There's not much that's been said on it yet. Obviously, they're currently filming it. If you've seen the Insidious films, do you know the older woman, Lynn Shane, that was in them? She's the main person that's going to be centred upon in the Grudge reboot. Like I said, nothing's been like put up yet. I mean, I'm a bit reluctant. I'm a bit optimistic about it, obviously, because I've seen all the Ju-On Japanese ones, which I did mention. There's 10 of them, and then there's the one which the Grudge versus the Ring, and then they had the American adaptations. They did 3 of them, which was the Grudge 1 and 2, which had Sarah Michelle Gellar in it, and then the Grudge 3, which came out 10 years ago. I mean, just look at the Ring reboot that they did. That film was trash. The Ring reboot, I think it was last year it came out. That film that I think it was last year, but it was like slaughtered upon everybody, everybody. Was it The Ring? Yeah, it was The Ring, wasn't it? 2007 or 2017, not last year. Yeah, it was slated upon it. It's got 7% on Rotten Tomato. I know I did watch it, and it wasn't that great. I mean, it was more of a. I think the reason why it was bad is because it was that handicapped by poor writing, but it does appeal to like diehard fans of, you know, the source material and, you know, the genre, of the people that have watched, you know, the American Rings and, you know, the original Japanese stuff. It does like appeal to them. It does take it in like a new direction, but it, in its own sense, it's like a bleh, you know, it's like a generic ghost story that, you know, that's half, you know, it's half-hearted, but then it's built around a premise, you know, videotape that kills, like, obviously, which it is, but then, you know, it doesn't make it as threatening as what the original ones were. It like, it dumbs it down a little bit, and then, I mean, if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, but it basically cannibalizes the you know, the 1998 original one, which is Ringu. You know, it doesn't really, and it didn't do too well at the box office as well. So you know, that's obviously down to, you know, the critics. Obviously, if someone like Slaughter, because it only got 7% on Rotten Tomato, But like I said, you know, it does appeal to like, you know, the die-hard fans of the source material and all that. If you've watched like the something to check on auditions, make sure it's not stopped. It does like I said, it does appeal to like the people that have watched the source material, you know, the books, the anime and that they did in the original Ringu and Kadoku Japanese ones. But like I said, it's not that great. Some other films which are actually coming out, which I said upcoming. Another film which looks pretty good. This isn't a horror film. It's a sci-fi film. It's called Chaos Walking. It's based upon the book, which was written by Patrick Neese, which I've read, which is called The Knife of Never Letting Go. But it's obviously it's this trilogy book series, so I don't know if they're going to do a trilogy. Obviously, if this first film does well, then obviously they will do it as a trilogy. But basically, I can't remember. It's been a while since I read that book actually. It's set in the near future. There's a character called Todd. I think it's called Todd. It basically was brought up to believe that a viral germ had killed all women in a colony world and unleashed noise, that's a special ability to, you know, hear people's and animals' minds. I think I've got the right book here. And then later he comes upon a patch of silence, and then he soon discovers the source of the silence, which is what I've just said. And then he meets a mysterious woman, which is, I think she was called Viola. I'm pretty sure it was Viola. She's on the run, and then they go on the run together, and then they learn the true history of the new world, which is basically what I've just said, you know, about that special ability and all that. So that's coming out. I think that's coming out later this year. Could be February. Oh no, wait. Oh, it's already been released in Russia, but it's not coming out till next year. No, it was supposed to be released February this year, but it still hasn't been released. But it says 2020 on there now, so I don't know when that's being released. But it's got Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley and Mads Mikkelsen in it. So that, you know, there is that. They're also rebooting. Oh, this is just fucking ridiculous. I did say I was going to do like a podcast on Hollywood reboots and it's just getting ridiculous. They're rebooting Men in Black. But you haven't got Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones in it. It's called Men in Black International. It's out in June. But like I said, it's completely rebooted. You've not got Will Smith. You've got none of the original cast in it. It's just like it's a complete like reboot. They say it's a spin-off or a sequel, but not really, because you haven't really got any of the original cast in it. But and so there's not much. I think there is a trailer actually, but I'm a bit optimistic about that because, you know, I did like the first three Men in Black films, and the fact that they're rebooting it without Will Smith or Tommy Lee Jones or, you know, any of the original cast, which were in the first three, makes me think this film won't do that well. It'll probably flop. Most films that, you know, if they take on like a franchise that's pretty popular and they reboot it, remake it, completely change the cast, they never do too well. But, you know, I'll have to just wait and see. But like, I won't go watch it, like I said, because you've got no Will Smith in there, you've got no Tommy Lee Jones, you haven't got any of the original cast in there, so I'm probably not going to bother watching it because you never know, it could be wrong, it could be decent. I have watched the trailer and the trailer doesn't look too well to it. It does look pretty bad from the trailer that I watched. The trailer came out a couple of months ago. Let me just check out Audition again to make sure I'm not talking about. Yeah, that's all good. We also got Bond 25 coming out next year. That's coming out April time. It's Daniel Craig's last Bond film. But there's a lot of controversy around this. It's not upon the film itself about who's taking over as next Bond. Apparently it's going to be a woman, which I'm getting sick of this now because I said this about the Doctor Who role. Obviously I wasn't too bothered of it because the Doctor's a fucking aliens who can change into whatever the hell he wants, female, male, could turn into a fucking dog if he wanted to. But with Bond, it's a guy, it's not a woman. So it's been rumoured that Jodie Comer is going to be the first female Bond. I mean, it's in the name though, James Bond. It's not. I mean, obviously there's nothing official, obviously it's just rumoured, but it is like rumoured quite a lot, and there's a lot of like sourced stuff to like back it up to say the next Bond is going to be a female. Like I said, I wouldn't be happy about that, and I don't think a lot of other Bond fans will be happy about that, because like I said, Bond's a guy, it's in the name, James Bond. I mean, it's not Jane Bond, it's not, I mean, at the end of the day, you see, I don't really want to comment too much on it, but like I said, yeah, a lot of Bond fans and that. I mean, when it was first, I think it was like last year, Daniel Craig was, because obviously he was talking about leaving and saying that the next Bond film will be his last one, and then he did like get answered upon, he did like get asked in an interview about like who the next Bond were, and then they did ask him about like a female Bond, and he said that he couldn't say much upon it. They said they've already got like some shortlisted people about that they want as the next Bond, but he didn't like go into much detail because he can't. But like I said, with the rumours and that going around that it's going to be a female Bond, I know last year there was a lot of uproar. There was like a petition that went up, and like I think something like 250,000 people signed it to like stop Bond from becoming a female. So yeah, it wouldn't work out well if they did do that. Like I said, Bond's it's in the name. I mean, they can't turn Bond into a female. I mean, they're doing it with all the films nowadays. Now, all the male roles, they're turning them into females. I don't know why they're doing it. I mean, if it was the other way around, they turned a female role into a popular female role into a male role, there'd be a massive uproar. I mean, I don't know. This is why I was going to do a Hollywood. I was going to do like a podcast around it, but I decided not to because the opinions that I'd have for it, I'd get shut all over for it. But at the end of the day, it's my own opinion, and a lot would agree. But that's why I didn't do that podcast. I like changed it, and I did. It was actually supposed to be the last podcast, but I changed it and decided to do a video games one. Like I said, yeah, it just cut off, then it went off, obviously. But like I said, yeah, I was supposed to do that Hollywood one. But obviously, like I said, with my opinions that I would have had, it wouldn't have gone down too well. I would have get slaughtered on. You'd have all these YSJ warriors commenting like, this is right. That's why I don't like tend to like get my opinions across about certain things, because nowadays, like I said in the last podcast, the one before where I went through the TV stuff. Nowadays, you can't have opinions for stuff when it comes to certain stuff. But like I said, yeah, Bond becoming a female, it's just, hopefully it doesn't happen. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see once this next Bond film comes out, if they in April next year. But if they announce the next Bond before then, or if they announce it after that film's been released, we're not 100% sure yet what's happening. But hopefully, let's have a look at the reports. Like I said, Jodie Comer was tipped to be the next Bond. It was just a report that I just read then, but let's have a look. Yeah, here we go. Here it is. Also, the next Bond film is it's apparently supposed to be called James Bond Eclipse. Obviously, like I said, it's Daniel Craig's last film as Bond. Probably going to be loud. I'll just turn this down so you can't hear it. Yeah, it does say Jodie Comer. Hold on. Oh, it's on bloody Express. Yeah, it says it just says Jodie Comer is continuing to be talked about as a potential key player in James Bond. It does say, could she be the first female Bond? Early this month, yeah, Lad Brooks announced that if Bond were to be female, Comer would be the front runner. I mean, like I said. And then it says Emily Blunt is apparently tipped. Meanwhile, Emma Watson, Gillian Anderson, Olivia Colman, Angelina Jolie, and Game of Thrones fame Emilia Clarke and Maisie Williams followed far behind. So this is what I mean. There's literally, for the next Bond, there is no guy tipped to be the next. It's all females that are. The bookies, if you go onto the bookies sites and you look up reports, it's all. There's no guys that have been tipped to take over the role from Daniel Craig, which it's worrying because, like I said, that would not work. No one would watch it. No one would. I mean, just look at, if you listen to my last if you listen to my last podcast, I said about Doctor Who and the fact that that's failed, turning the Doctor into female, that's badly failed. If you looked at the ratings, and you looked at all the fans like reviews of it, let's try and get a report up actually. I think 97% of actual critics liked it, but only like 10% of fans liked it, and there was about 150,000 like reviews of the series. So that just shows that it hasn't worked. Hold on a minute, let me just see if I can find it. So it goes to show that if you're ruining something like that and changing genders, it doesn't work. Let me have a look. I mean, was it series 10? No, it's 11 actually. Like I said, I'll have to find it now. Here we go. Yeah, 92% of critics upvoted it, but only 21% of audience liked it. So that goes to show that it didn't work. I know when they did officially announce Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, like a year before the series came out, I was reading through the comments, and a lot of people was like slaughtering the decision to do this. Like, what's the point? And the Doctor's been a guy for when was it, 2017, for 54 years, and then they decide to make it a female. Like I said, I wasn't, obviously, like I was a bit optimistic. I wasn't at first. I was a bit like annoyed, like, oh yeah, they're just gonna ruin the show now. And then after watching, the series last, the one which was out last year, obviously I was like, right, I'll give it a go, and obviously see what it's like. And, after watching it, I was like, yeah, this is bad. But like I said, it wasn't because the Doctor's a female. Like I said, it was because of due to poor writing. It was, it was down to like decisions that they made that didn't work. Poor acting as well. I mean, the only good acting that came from that was, like I said, it was Bradley Walsh. He was the only one that basically pulled that series together. If Bradley Walsh wasn't in that, it would have been a shit scam. Bradley Walsh basically saved that series, because rest of it, like I said, Jodie Whittaker's acting at the time was really cringeworthy. If you can just look up on Rotten Tomatoes and everything, if you look at reports, you can just see all the fans slated it. Like I said, only 21% audience score. And I was like, I'm in a group on Facebook that's got like 450,000 people in it. It's a Doctor Who Facebook group, and I know nearly a lot of people have slaughtered it. Like, this is like the worst decision they've done, and so we'll just have to see what they do next year. If they both step down. I mean, Chris Chibnall, like I said, I did say, I'm not going to go into it again, but like I did say in the not last podcast, the podcast before, that Chris Chibnall tried taking it in his own direction, and it's clearly not working. And but it is what it is. And like I said, it's done now. The BBC they've planted that. They've dug themselves a grave. Let's see if they can get themselves out of it. I can see Doctor Who potentially being cancelled next year. Where our ratings went, and now they've fastly dropped. And if it's as bad and as badly written and that, and the acting's still that bad as it was in the series last year, when the next series comes out next year, and the fact that they're not releasing any Doctor Who this year and all that's going to lose interest, I've got a feeling it's probably going to get cancelled next year. I mean, it was apparently on the verge of being cancelled a couple of years back. No, it wasn't actually, was it? I think it was that Peter Capaldi's series, because of the ratings or somewhere, and then that's why I think they decided to change the Doctor to a female to see if it'd boost the ratings. But the ratings for Jodie Whittaker's episodes are actually worse than what some of Peter Capaldi's were. I mean, the opening couple of episodes had like 9 to 10 million overall. That's all because, you would have had people, intrigued and saying, because it's a female Doctor and it's not a guy anymore. But then it dropped and dropped and dropped. It started off at about, I think it was just over like 10 million, and the last episode got like 4.5 million, so it dropped by nearly a half between the first and the last episode. So the ratings dropped in half. So the last couple of episodes were actually had lower ratings than what all of Peter Capaldi's last season did the season before it. So I think the BBC are worrying now. I think that's why they're taking a year gap. And that's why they're not releasing anything this year to try and like fix it. But it's you can't fix it. They've like I said, they've dug themselves an hole now. They're not going to dig themselves out of it. You know, they've planted that there now. They've basically just run it into the ground. They might as well just end it for good. And then maybe in like 10, 15 years time, you know, they could reboot it once again. But as is for now, I think the new Who's pretty much dying off now with you know, how things are going at the moment. But like I said, I was gonna, you know, I blabbed on about that again. Obviously, I was gonna do it on her. Like I said, yeah, Bond female. I'll just have to see what happens. But as of yet, we're not gonna get anything official, right? There were some other films which I was gonna mention. Obviously, yeah, I did mention Birds of Prey. Yes, obviously there was a teaser trailer that was released, but that was just telling us, you know, that film was in production. And like I said, obviously Jared Leto's Joker is going to be in it because of the photos which were put onto the that were leaked. You could tell that was Jared Leto's Joker, but obviously it wasn't Jared Leto himself, because like I said, they were currently filming Morbius, so like I said, reshoots and all that'll happen about that. But apparently they are doing the Joker and Harley Quinn one with Dr. Phil in it, the Mad Love storyline. Apparently they're filming that straight away after they filmed this. They've just finished filming it, but obviously like I said, Jared Leto's still filming Morbius, so I think once he's filmed that, I think they're jumping straight onto whatever that film's called. Obviously we don't know, but like I said, it's a Mad Love storyline with Dr. Phil's going to be in it. That's all we know. But apparently both of those films, Jared Leto's standalone one and that one, the Harley and Joker Dr. Phil Mad Love one, apparently they got axed and they got shelved. The scripts were wrote for them, but apparently they got shelved afterwards. But obviously nothing's been official until Warner Brothers comes across and say, yeah, we shelved them. Then, you know, because nothing's official, we don't actually know what's happening with them yet. Oh yeah, they're also doing Ghostbusters 3. I don't know if it's going to have any of the original cast in it. They did announce it. They've done a sneak peek to it. They have just like started filming it. That's out sometime next year. It's probably going to be probably summertime they release that. But I'm assuming because it's following on from Ghostbusters 2, you probably should have the original cast in it. I'm glad they didn't continue on from the all-female cast Ghostbusters they did, because that was bad. I mean, it was okay, but like, it was badly written. This is what it is when it comes to like reboots and this nowadays. They're not writing them properly. It's like the people that are writing them don't know about the franchise. And most of the times reboots or remakes or everything, it ruins the franchise. But at the end of the day, like some franchises, they can't continue on because like if their actors are dead or if they're like too old, you know, they can't continue on the franchises. They have to like start afresh and like reboot it with like new cast members or whatnot. But you know, like Ghostbusters film, which that didn't work. That didn't even make its money back at the box office. That really flopped, and it was review bombed like anything. No one liked it. They're also doing A Quiet Place 2. If you've seen the first one, which was out a couple of years ago, they're doing A Quiet Place 2 sequel to that. That's coming out next year as well. It's coming out in May next year. The original cast are returning, beside one, because obviously they got killed off, I think. I can't remember. But yeah, A Quiet Place 2 is coming out. World War Z 2 as well. That's been announced. That's been announced. We don't know when it's coming out yet. They've already written the script and they've got a director attached to it. David Fincher has been attached to direct World War Z 2. Now, David Fincher did Fight Club, Seven. He did Zodiac. What else did he do? He did The Game. He did Gone Girl. He also did The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He also directed the English version to the Swedish film The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. If I'm also mistaken correctly, right, I think he directed Alien 3. I could be wrong. He definitely did Panic Room as well. Yeah, directed Panic Room. I think he did do it. Hold on a second. Yes, he did direct Alien 3. So yeah, I was right on that. Yeah, he did Panic Room. Yeah, I know he directed that because that's a pretty good film. Yeah, he did Zodiac, Fight Club, Seven, Gone Girl, like I said, Girl with Dragon Tattoo, and Curious Case of Benjamin Button. So that film should turn out decent because most films that he's directed and that are pretty good. So that should turn out to be a pretty decent film whenever that comes out. That's probably not going to come out for another. It probably won't be out next year. Probably 2021. That comes out because I don't think they've started filming it yet. They're also doing a new Kingsman. That's out next year. Kingsman: The Great Game. That's out February. That's out on Valentine's next year. Actually, 14th of February. Obviously, we've not got the thing with Kingsman 3. Tarragon Egerton's not returning. Thingamajig got killed off, didn't he, in the second one, so he's not going to be back. So I don't know where they're going to go with the Kingsman 3. Let's just have a look. Because we know I don't know what they're doing with it. I mean, I don't think Colin Firth's in it either. Obviously Mark Strong's not in it because his character got killed off in Golden Circle. So obviously we know Mark Strong's not in it. Here we go. Yeah, Egerton confirmed he will not return for the third installment, but told fans of the franchise he would still portray the character in future installments beyond Kingsman 3. So if they do another one, yes, Colin Firth's also not in it. So we're getting. It looks like it's going to be a complete new cast because it says Harrison Dixon, whoever the fuck that is, Gemma Arterton, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Matthew Goody, Ralph Fiennes. Well, Ralph Fiennes was in the first two anyway. Oh wait, no. I thought his character got killed off. Stanley Tucci. Was he in the first? No, he wasn't, was he? I think he was in the first one. There's a couple of them, but like it looks more like an all new cast by looks of it. But yeah, I don't know about that. Obviously it's only just recently been announced. They started filming it last month. Wait, are they doing a Don't Breathe 2? I know one was announced. Some of which I did mention in the podcast, I've one about Evil Dead, with, Ash vs Evil Dead ending. I was hoping that they'd carry something on with Jane Levy's Mia. Nothing's been announced yet. It's been a year since Ash vs Evil Dead finished. Yes, Don't Breathe 2 is happening with... it says Don't Breathe 2 is much closer to happening than Evil Dead 2. It says that Don't Breathe 2 script is ready, but don't hold your breath for Evil Dead 2. Right, if Jane Levy will be in Don't Breathe 2, because she didn't get killed off at the end of the first one, because she went off with a kid on a plane. So, unless they just decided to continue it on with Stephen Lang's blind character and just have like a new cast again. But like take it in like a different direction to what it already currently was. So that, there is that option there. Let's have a look. Oh yes, Army of the Dead. This looks like a really good film. That's not coming out till December next year. But it's based on Dave Bautista's going to be in it. It's Zack Snyder's directing it. It's a zombie heist thriller. Dave Bautista's already been announced as like one of the main casts. It's set in Las Vegas in the future, but like not too far in the future. And it says here, I'm just reading the plot. It says it revolves around a father who tries to save his daughter from immediate death in a zombie-infested world. So it's going to be similar to, what was that film called? I can't remember. It's an old. It's not an old film, but it came out a good like 15, 20 years ago. So it's old, but it's not old. But it looks like it'd be something similar like that. But that does look good. there was like a teaser, even though it's not coming out till December next year. They've already released a teaser thing of it, and some posters and that. You know, they've already started promoting it. There's also a film which is coming out next year and all. I don't know if this is actually true. It's called The Devil All the Time. It's set in a rural southern Ohio and West Virginia rural place. And it follows a cast of characters from the end of World War II to the 1960s. Now, apparently, I think this is just a joke. It says that it's 666 minutes long. That's about 10 hours. Round about 2 hours. No, like 11 hours. I doubt it's going to be 11 hours long. I think someone's just like edited that to like I said, yeah, you've got Quiet 2 that's coming out next year, Conjuring 3, plot's unknown, we don't even know what's happening with Conjuring 3 yet. I've already mentioned Ghostbusters 3 and World War Z 2 and The Grudge. They're remaking The Invisible Man. That's coming out next year, which is it's apparently supposed to be a new take on, obviously, the classic, which came out ages ago. That was something like I think the originals was like in the 1930s or 40s for the original one anyway. What else is there coming out? Escape Room 2 is happening. Have you seen the first one? Which was out, I think came out this year actually. Did Escape Room. They're doing a sequel to that, which is out next year. Yes, it was this year. It was there's 2 or 3 films called Escape Room. The one which I'm talking about is the one which it had Deborah Ann Wolfe in it and Logan Miller. It's one that had Deborah Ann Wolfe in, not the one which had which was centered around this guy. This one, the one I'm talking about, is the one that was centered around Deborah Ann Wolfe's character with the 2 kids in it as well. It's the one with the 6 strangers, the one with the mysterious building, and then they complete to win a $10,000, something like that. That's not the one where because there's another film which was released random at the same time, which is also called Escape Room. That's based upon 3 couples that this guy's sister books them into this like mysterious escape room. And then they end up getting killed off one by one. That's not the film they're doing a sequel to. That was a direct to DVD. That was a direct digital one. That one, the one I'm on about, is the one with Deborah Ann Wolfe. That's the one that they're getting a sequel to. I don't know if it's gonna be the same cast. Probably won't be. It'll probably be a new cast based upon the warehouse and that, which was in the first one. So it'll probably just like centre around that. Also, we've got a new Tommy Wiseau's doing a new film. If you've ever watched The Room or Happy Fens. Happy Fens came out last year. There was 2 parts to it. I don't know if it's gonna be what it's gonna be. It's called Big Shark, so it's obviously gonna be about sharks. I don't know if Tommy Wiseau's in it. I know he's directing it, so I don't know what's happening with that. There's nothing that's coming out next year or not, so there's nothing been like too given away for that. But I'll give it a go because The Room was a classic film. So was Happy Fens actually. That was actually those 2 films were actually pretty decent. But The Room's like the worst film ever, but it's like the best film ever at the same time. I think everyone's watched The Room. Also, the film which I mentioned, which was on Netflix, which I said to try out, which I thought was the best Netflix film which came out last year, which was Cam. They finally announced a sequel to that, which is going to be out next year, Cam 2. I don't know if it's going to centre around the girl which was in the first one again. I'm presuming it will do. She'll have some part in it, but it might be like a new girl that like starts off in this campsite and then it might develop into something else. So they might go above and beyond, and you know, if they've been given like a bigger budget, they might take it into like a new direction, which I'm hoping, because obviously like I said, Cam was like I'd personally said, like I did say, it was probably like one of the best films that Netflix released, you know, original stuff which they did release last year. It probably was one of the best. They're also remaking They're remaking Candyman again for about the 5th time. Jordan Peele or whoever that is considering taking on the remake to make, from classic Candyman. Obviously, the classic Candyman was, what's it called? It was in the Final Destination franchise. Who did the original? Who did that one? But then there was obviously the one before that. So I think it's been remade about 3 or 4 times now as Candyman. From my knowledge, I know there was quite a lot of direct to like TV remakes which they did of Candyman. So I'll just have to see what happens with that. I mean, like I said, everything's been remade like so many times. The remake in Critters as well, that's been remade again. I don't know why. Critters is being remade. What else has been remade? Friday the 13th, they're rebooting that, but this time it's going to be that's out next year. It's apparently supposed to be. They're doing 2 Friday the 13th actually, apparently. One of them's a fully funded fan film though, so it's not an actual. Apparently, the fully funded fan film, which is Friday the 13th Vengeance, is supposed to serve as a true sequel to Jason Lives. But the actual official one, the one which is coming out next year, which is Friday the 13th, which I said is supposed to be a found footage film. It's supposed to be set 40 years after the original. It's probably been about 40 years since the original anyways. But yeah, it's supposed to be a found footage film. No details on that yet. Like I said before, they're doing a sequel to Halloween, which was out last year. That's been following on from the events of that one. I'm trying to think of that. Oh, Jeepers Creepers 4. The final, yes. Jeepers Creepers 3 was actually really well done. To say it was released. It was released in cinema for a bit, but then they released it digital. But it was really, it was really good because it did tie in the events of the first 2, and then it like brought a new plot and a new like storyline out to it. So they're already they've already smashed because of how well the 3rd one did. They've already announced the 4th one, which has already been scripted, and they're already filming it at the moment. So that's out early next year. I don't know if it's going to be in cinema or if they probably will release it in cinema. Well, the 3rd one did. The 3rd one's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, Jeepers Creepers 3 is now on Netflix. From what I recall, I don't know if it should be still on there actually. The first 2 aren't on there though, but Jeepers Creepers 3 was on Netflix at one time. Like I said, I don't know if it's currently on there at the moment. They're finally doing a sequel to Night of the Living Dead as well. That's getting a sequel next year. I mean, Night of the Living Dead's an old film, I think. But that's finally getting a sequel. That's out next year. If you ever watched the first one, yeah, the first one's a 1968 film. Yeah, they're finally doing a sequel to it. That's out next year. It's been officially licensed. Script's done. It says on here. So, they're also remaking Phantom of the Opera again. The last Phantom of the Opera was 2006. But yeah, they're doing a new Phantom of the Opera. It's part of the Dark Universe. So that's the Mummy, Frankenstein, the Dracula film they did. I think that's the Dark Universe. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it says that it's part of Universal's Pictures Dark Universe. That was what the Mummy, the Dracula film that they did. They're doing a Frankenstein film apparently. I think it was Hellboy, the reboot that they did part. It might not have been. But they're probably supposed to be doing a Jekyll and Hyde one as well. From what I've read up anyway. Let's have a look. There was a couple of other ones which did. Let's have a look. Oh, they're doing a Purge. They're doing Purge 5. That's supposed to be the last Purge. There's also a TV series. If you know about the Purge TV series, there is a Purge TV series. That was pretty decent actually. The Purge TV series. They're doing a second. I think they're doing a second season to the Purge TV series. It was actually pretty decent. Was the Purge TV series? Yeah, it's been announced they're doing a second season. So yeah, we've got the Purge 5, which is coming out next year. With probably the second season to Purge. The second season to the Purge TV series might be out at the end of the year actually. Also, I don't know if this is an American adaptation. I might be a bit louder because I've got my head rested on the mic. I'll just pull back a bit. I mentioned Train to Busan. They're remaking it. I think it is an American adaptation, obviously, because Train to Busan's it was a Korean film, which was really, really good. But yeah, it's been remade. I think it's probably going to be an American adaptation. That's out sometime next year. So that's been remade. Tremors is getting a 7th film. That's possibly going to be the last Tremors film. Michael Gross is going to be Bert Gummer. So there's that's coming, Tremors 7, which is probably going to be the last film. Trick or Treat's getting a sequel. If you've ever seen the original Trick or Treat film, which was released in 2013 as a special fan screening, that's coming back. Trick or Treat 2 is getting a sequel, so like I said, that's coming back at like that's coming out December next year. Nothing obviously been official about that yet, but like I said, it's coming out quite well there. White Zombie is being remade. That's a 1932 film, which that's a pretty good film that I've watched. White Zombie, that's getting a remake. Wrong Turn's getting a remake. All these remakes. So you've got White Zombie and Wrong Turn, which are getting remakes, which are out next year. Like I said, there's quite a lot of remakes that are. Let's have a look. I've already mentioned quite a few. Wrong Turn getting a remake, and White Zombie. I mean, why remake a film which is nearly 100 years old? Obviously, we already know. I've already mentioned quite a few times with Child's Play being remade. That actually does look good though. All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know what film that is. That's getting remade. I'm just looking through now. Pet Sematary, obviously we already know that's already out. The Crow's getting remade. It's been announced. The Crow's being remade. The Orphanage is being remade. I don't know. That didn't come out that long ago actually. An American Werewolf in London's getting remade again. Wait, they're remaking Dirty Dancing again. No, that's already been out. Yeah, that's the one which was released last year. Drop Dead Fred's being remade. Oh, I already know about that. Starship Troopers is also being remade. The Never Ending Story, if you ever watched that, that's being remade. Time Bandits, which was a 1981 TV film, is being remade. That's been announced. Akira's also being remade. If you ever watched that, that was a bike gang which tried to save a kidnapped friend from a powerful supernatural experiment. If you ever watched that, that's been remade. American Psycho is also getting a remake. That's been announced. The Birds, the classic Alfred Hitchcock Birds film, is getting a remake. Creature from Black Lagoon's getting a remake. There's so many remakes coming. Some of these are just like pointless. I mean, we don't need them. Oh my god, Highlander is getting remade. Little Shop of Horrors is getting a remake. I think, like I said, I was going to do a podcast on Hollywood are running out of ideas. Scarface is being remade. Oh my god. Like I said, Phantom Opera. I already said a couple of others that are so many. Weird Science. Oh my god, Weird Science is being remade. Oh, they're doing a sequel to Gremlins. That's not a remake, but that's just a sequel to Gremlins. Gremlins 3. Van Helsing's getting a remake. The last one was the one with Hugh Jackman in. So they're obviously remaking that. So many. Logan Run's getting another. Oh my god. Jacob's Ladder, Logan's Run. Police Academy's being remade. Oh no, it's not. That's an 8th installment. There's so many. Obviously, that's already been out. I won't mention that. We already knew about the Tomb Raider remake that came out. I'll just make sure it's recording. I'm not talking to myself. Yeah, oh god. Because I know what happened with the last 2 podcasts I did. Battle Royale. Oh my god. Why? They're remaking Battle Royale, but as a... It's based. It says a group of teens face off against each other in a futuristic survival game held on a remote. It's based on an American adaptation to Battle Royale. That's a classic film. Why? They're like trying to like Day of the Dead's being remade. They're like trying to like ruin like classic films. Hellraiser's getting a remake. Oh my god. There's been so many fucking sequels. There's only Hellraiser recently actually, which actually was pretty decent. The last one. was either last year or the year before it came out, which was actually pretty decent. Obviously, it wasn't the original dude who played Hellraiser, but it was actually a well-written. Film. They're also doing a film to Wicked. If you've seen the stage, the theatre production of Wicked, which I've seen, which is really good. They're doing a film to that now. They're also doing a Wizard of Oz film, but it's a horror film this time. It's been in production for a couple of years, but they're keeping it secret. I can't know if it's MGM or something that are making it. They've kept tight secret on that. We're getting another Nightmare on Elm Street reboot. After that 2010 film of a mess, we're getting a reboot. It's apparently called Elm Street, not a Nightmare on Elm Street. Nothing's been announced yet, but yeah, that'll probably be out next year. They're also remaking the 1996 film The Craft. My mum's fucking obsessed with that film. She's always got it on. The Craft is being remade. That's a 1996 film. That's being remade. The Blob. Charlie's Angels being remade. Apparently the remake's got Kristen Stewart in it, Naomi Scott, and instead of it being 3 girls, it's going to be 2 girls and a guy for Charlie's Angel for the remake. They're doing a Dungeons. If you ever watched Dungeons and Dragons, this is an 2000, I think that was released. They're doing a remake to that. I don't know if it's a follow-on, but I think it is a remake. They're remaking that film, so that's being remade. Also, oh no, I mean, I'm looking at some of these remakes and I'm thinking, why? The Entity is being remade. That's a true story of a mother and a family from Culver City being haunted. That's a paranormal exorcism-like film that's being. I'm surprised they haven't remade Exorcist yet. I mean, they did do the TV series. I never watched it because, like I said, I can't. The film's enough. If I ended up watching the TV series, I won't sleep for weeks because it looks even fucking worse than the film. But yeah, I never watched the Exorcist TV series. There is 2 seasons, but I never did watch it. Flash. Oh my god, Flash Gordon's being remade. Obviously, we know about Green Lantern being remade. Grudge, I've already mentioned that. I'll just keep checking Audition to make sure it's not like cutting out. I know what he did last summer. That was announced. Apparently, Victoria Justice was supposed to play Jennifer Love Hewitt's role. It was announced like 3-4 years ago, but nothing's come of it yet, so I don't know if that's happening. Probably will. Yeah, I said The Invisible Man. So many. Masters of the Universe. They're doing a film to that. I don't think they've actually done a fan of Masters. That's He-Man. I don't think they ever did. They have done a live action version to Masters of the Universe, actually. I could have been mistaken. Milan's getting then it's Disney. Disney are making all their animated films live action now. So yeah, Milan's getting a live action. They're remaking Nosferatu. That's a very, very, very old film. That's like the first ever vampire Dracula. It's Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think that was like the first ever Dracula film. That was Nosferatu. It's a very, very old film. What else have we got? That's Sister Act's being remade. Oh my god, Sister Act's getting a remake. They're doing a live action version to The Sword in the Stone. That's a Disney one. Where did it? Z? Is that Zorro? Yeah, they're doing. Oh my god, they're doing a. Antonio Banderas did The Legend of Zorro, the Zorro films. Yeah, they're remaking that. Obviously, we already know about the Batman film. Aladdin, Dumbo. Dumbo's already out. Aladdin's coming out soon. Hellboy's already out. We've got Terminator. It's called Terminator Dark Fate. Linda Hamilton's returning to the role of Sarah Connor. Obviously, we already know Arnold Schwarzenegger's returning as the Terminator for that as well. It's following on from the Terminator 3. It's based like 30 years after the events of the third one. It might be a bit not that long. Terminator 3 only came out like was it about 14, 15. It might be based about 20 years afterwards probably. But yeah, we've got that coming later this year, Terminator Dark Fate. It's already been filmed. There should be a trailer coming to that soon. Nosferatu. Oh, they're doing a Resident Evil reboot. Even though, how many films did they do with Resident Evil? They did quite a few, didn't they? Yeah, they're rebooting the Resident Evil franchise. Underworld will probably be next to be rebooted. To be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if that gets rebooted in the end. 140 movie. Let's have a look. Let's see if there's any more that I can come up with at the top of my head. I can't think of it. Oh, Addams Family. Yeah, that's an animated one though. It looks weird. I've seen the trailer to it. I think it's based on the cartoon though. Clue is also getting a remake. If you ever watched that, that's a Tim Curry film. He was the original one for Clue, but it's Ryan Reynolds that's taking over from Tim Curry's role as the butler. Clue's based on the Hasbro board game. So that's coming. I don't know when that's coming out. It's been announced. Ryan Reynolds has been announced as taking over from the role which Tim Curry had. We're finally getting a Top Gun sequel. That's out next year. Obviously, we already know about Godzilla, King of the Monsters. That's out soon. That's out next month, actually. We already know we're getting Avatar 2, 3 and 4. 2 and 3 was filmed back to back. Avatar 2 is coming out late next year. Gremlins 3, which I've already mentioned, that's coming out. Indiana Jones, we're getting a new Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford's continue doing it. That's not happened over 2 years. I think there's like a couple of others. Pet Sematary, that's already out. I haven't seen it yet. Apparently, I've not heard good things about that. Some of my mates have seen it, and they did say that it was actually pretty decent, but they didn't go into details of it. There was I know you want to watch. I was like, yeah, I know I want to watch it, but that's what I'm holding out. I mean, Avengers Endgame's out on Wednesday, but I'm going out anyway on Wednesday, clubbing and that on Wednesday anyway. So my mate's watching it at midnight. A couple of us at my mates watching it at midnight. I'm gonna watch it on Thursday, and I swear to God, if my mates message me and ruin it for me, I'll be like, you bastards. I was gonna watch it myself on Wednesday at midnight, but I can't now because I forgot about plans that I already had. I mean, I could still go watch it, but I can't do that. I can't. But yeah, so I'm hoping that I don't get spoilers and I get it ruined before I watch it on Thursday for Avengers Endgame. We'll just wait and see. I swear to God, if my mate's message said, "Oh, this is what happens. This is how they kill Thanos," I'm like, "Don't you fucking dare! Don't you dare!" What else is there? Annabelle. Obviously, I don't think I mentioned that actually. Yeah, Annabelle comes on. That's out in June. That's Annabelle 3. Jumanji's getting a sequel. That's out in December. Suicide Squad, obviously, we already know about that. That's getting rebooted with a complete new. I don't know if it's a complete new cast. We know that. No, apparently Jared Leto is returning for it. The rumours are he is. But I wouldn't have thought he would have done because of the comments that James Gunn made about him. He tweeted about Jared Leto calling him a pedo and all this. So unless there's just fucking resolved differences, and it does say on the official thing for it that Jared Leto's been attached to it. Obviously, we know Margaret Robbie's coming back as Harley Quinn, and apparently this one's going to actually focus more around the Joker this time round. Idris Elba's taking over the role of Deadshot. Will Smith's not returning. Apparently, Idris Elba is taking over as Deadshot. That's what the reports say. Apparently he's playing a different character, but I think he's taken over as Deathshot from Will Smith because Will Smith's not returning in it. Jay Courtney's returning as well as Boomerang. So we've got Boomerang, Harley Quinn, whatever Idris Elba's doing, I think it is Deathshot taking over from Will Smith, and then potentially Jared Leto's going to be in it as the Joker. Obviously nothing's official. Yeah, I'm just going off what's these reports are saying and everything. I mean, like I said, if they do, but it's not called Suicide Squad, it's called The Suicide Squad. Just add that in front of it. It is, right? But yeah, like I said, if Jared Leto does return for it, I'm hoping, they do give him a massive, bigger role because, they didn't give him justice in enough justice in Suicide Squad, and it deserves it after, especially with all those scenes being cut, and then the amount of effort he went to put his own character and his own like definition into that role, just for like all the scenes to be cut out and then never to be seen. They don't even release them as like deleted scenes, on the extended cut. I'll put all the scenes into the extended cut, or put them as all, special features on, the extended cut release, so then we could actually see all those scenes. So we're probably not even going to see all those scenes that were put in there. Or, you never know, there's scenes which were cut, they might put into Birds of Prey. I mean, they could like recycle that footage from the Suicide Squad and put it into Birds of the Prey, which probably would be the best option, because obviously we already know that Joker's already going to be in it, but obviously it wasn't him that was filming that scene, it was someone else, obviously a body double. So we already know he's going to be in it in some capacity. So I mean, those scenes that got cut from Suicide Squad, they could just like, edit those into that film and just have them as like flashbacks, because obviously it's about Harley Quinn and the Joker breaking up, so they could have it as flashbacks, when she's out and about, because it's based upon Black Mask in it. Whilst they're out and about, they could like cut it together as flashbacks like they did do in Suicide Squad. So they could potentially do that, but we don't know what's happening with that yet until we actually see the trailer. We probably won't see a trailer till I'm probably going to say about September time. We'll see a trailer, maybe late August for Birds of the Prey. We'll probably get a trailer something about then. But like I said, obviously with the Suicide Squad, like I said, it has been announced. I don't know what's happening. Like I said, also John Cena's joined Suicide Squad as well. I don't know what role John Cena's playing, but he's lined up for a role in Suicide Squad. I don't know what role he's playing, but yeah, John Cena's going to be in it. There's not much, like I said, there's not much. I think it's out next year, Suicide Squad, actually. No, 2021. Like I said, nothing official has been. Obviously, we know Margaret Roberts in it, Rick Flagg's returning, and Amanda Wallace. Nothing else has been official. Obviously, John Cena has been announced for a role. I don't know who he's playing, but he's in talks to it. Oh no, it's to say Suicide Deadshot removed from sequel as Ibris Elba moves on. But it does say that Jared Leto is in it, but like I said, we've got nothing official, so we don't actually know what's happening with that at the moment. We don't know if it's like going back and forth. Oh my god, I've got so many messages. But like I said, we haven't like gone back and forth to. I'm just going off reports here and what I'm reading up, but yeah, it does say Idris Elba is playing a character other than Deadshot. And then I said John Cena's James Gunn confirms Harley Quinn for Suicide Squad 2, so Harley Quinn's in it. Jack Courtney is also returning. I did say that as Boomerang. I'm trying to think what role John Cena would play. I'm trying to think like characters that are Suicide Squad characters. I know a few from the top of my head, but I'm just trying to think. Let me just look it up. Suicide Squad, list of Suicide Squad members. It could play Chromo, actually. Is it Chromo? No, Chemo. No, yeah, it could do, actually. It could play Chemo. Who else could it play? I mean, there's Chemo. There's an option that it's a Suicide Squad member that he could play. Or he could actually play. He could actually play Blockbuster. Blockbuster's is a chemist who desires to increase his physical strength. So it could. So there's like I said, there's Blockbuster he could play. Chemo. I'm trying to think of other characters. No, he won't play Nemesis. No, not Nightshade. Nightshade's a female. I mean, I like to see Nightshade. Actually, I would like to see Nightshade in Suicide Squad in this next one. I mean, because Nightshade's an actual decent character. So I'd like to see her in it. Probably won't happen. It might. No, Black Orchid's a female. Yeah, I did say Kronos. He could play Kronos, and then Kronos could be the bad villain in the Suicide Squad. Because Kronos is a super villain, so John Cena could potentially play that Kronos. There's just so many characters. There's even Penguin that they could bring into Suicide. Slipknot's already been in it. He died. There's Multiplex. Which character was I can't remember which one Multiplex was. They won't bring Manhunter into it. Speeding or Vixen, Thinker, Weasel, PSI, Travel. I know almost he's got Captain Cold. Could he play Captain Cold though? He could play. No. Captain Cold's no. Shade the Change. He could play Shade the Changing Man. That's an option there. He could play Count Vertigo. There's Dr. Light. He could play. Actually, I think it is Dr. Light. Actually, I'm pretty sure I read a report somewhere saying that John Cena was being lined up to play Dr. Light. I'm not 100% sure though. There's so many characters that are in the Suicide Squad. You've even got Black Adam that's in there, but I think is that The Rock that's going to be playing Black Adam. There's the Thinker. He could play the Thinker. There's the Thinker as well. I'll just make sure that I'm not talking to myself. Yeah, that's all good. Yeah, so there's quite a lot of characters. The ones which I could see him playing is Dr. Light, Kronos, and Chemo. So there's Chemo, Blockbuster, Dr. Light, and Kronos. There's one of those four it could potentially be playing. Like I said as well, there's also what's it called? That dude that has those stuff stuck in his head. The Thinker, that's him, yeah. Like I said, there's so many characters. Nothing's been announced yet. Obviously, they're probably not going to film it until early next year. If it's been released in June, was it June 2021? So they're probably not going to start filming it till January, February next year. But there is that option. Oh my god, my phone. So many messages. But yeah, like I said, there is that to look forward to. Obviously, the Batman film. That's coming out a month or two before Suicide Squad. Obviously, we don't have Ben Affleck now, so I'm just get comfortable because my legs are hurt. There's like I said, there is Ben Affleck. He's stepped down as Batman. I don't know what they're doing about Superman because obviously Henry Cavill stepped down as Superman. I did mention this in the first podcast I did because I didn't go through the state of DC. And we don't know what's happening there. Apparently they want a younger person to play Batman, someone in the late 20s, mid to late 20s, to play Batman. So it's going to be a Batman Begins kind of film, I think, by the looks of it. So it's basically what the last episode of Gotham's going to be this Thursday. That's basically what that Batman film's going to be. If they want someone in the mid-20s, late 20s playing Batman, then it's basically going to be follow on from Gotham's last episode, won't it? Pretty much. If they're going down that route, because Matt Reeves is the one that's directing it, he's wrote the script for it. They had to change it. They did write one script, but then they reshot they had to rewrite it completely because apparently it was supposed to be Deathstroke. Deathstroke was supposed to have been in the original script, but then they changed it to something else. We're not going to see the Joker in it, obviously, because it's set beforehand, so Jared Leto won't be able to be in it as the Joker, or Harley Quinn or anything like that. You won't get them in it because, like I said, it's set probably about 15 years before the events of Suicide Squad and all the other films that we've currently had. So it's set way a good 15 years before then, might be a little bit more. Because how old was Batman in Suicide Squad? It must have been about 45, because it's pushing on a couple of years before the Batman Returns franchise bit. the comic book material and the animated films they did, Batman Returns. That's shortly after, and that's only like 10 years after. So yeah, he would have been in his mid-40s in Suicide Squad. So yeah, it could have been, yeah, it's nearly 20. That Batman film set nearly like 20 years beforehand. So yeah, I mean, so we're not going to see the Joker or anything in it. Or if they did, then it'd be stupid, because they'd have to recast the Joker again for a third time. I mean, they're spitting out too many of it. I mean, the Joker origin films, should I say, that we are getting out to, it was pointless. I don't get a point why they've done it, because we already know the origin of the Joker anyway. Well, we kind of do. We know, if you've watched The Killing Joke, which is the animated film, before he became the Joker, he had a family, and then he turned insane because his family died. And that's when it turned into the Joker. So we've already kind of got. We don't know the full premise of what this Joker film is. All we know that it's based upon is a comedian, like a failed comedian. And then apparently, by the looks of it, his mother's going to get killed off, and then he's going to basically turn into the Joker after that. And I don't like the look of the Joker either. The look that they've given that Joker, I don't particularly like that. It's too clown-like. It's too. It doesn't look like the Joker. It looks more like a Joker's henchman. It doesn't actually look like, like the Joker would. I mean, like I said, it looks more like a henchman than anything. I mean, obviously it's got the Joker makeup, the lipstick, but it's just the overall look of it. It doesn't look right. I mean, that might not be the final product of what it's going to look like. That might just be like his clown makeup and all that he uses for, because he's a stand-up comedian, so that could just be that. I mean, they could actually give him a final proper look at the end of the film, and so what it actually would look like. But like I said, until it's out, I'm a bit reluctant to watch it, because I know a couple of mates were like, "Oh my god, this looks amazing." I was like, it doesn't. I mean, it should have been Jared Leto in that place, not Joaquin. I mean, you just have to see what happens when it comes out, and just see, what the reviews are on it when it comes out in October. What the reviews are for it, what the critics are saying. I mean, it does look a lot darker than what normal DC films are. I mean, I know a lot. The DC films recently have been criticised for being too dark. Now that film looks like the darkest one that they've ever done, and they've made it more horror, like horror genre more than what They've made it really dark. From what that trailer looked like, they released that Joker trailer about a week or so ago. They have made it more horror. So it's a lot darker. It's a lot darker than what you would expect from a DC film. I mean, if you look at the Dark Knight film with Heath Ledger as the Joker, that was darkish. But the Joker film it's like 10 times darker than that from what the trailer looked. But I've kind of got to gather how the film's going to plan out anyway from the trailer. Like I said, he's a stand-up comedian, a failed one. Obviously, nobody likes him. Obviously, he's being bullied for it by the looks of it. He's living with his mum. Obviously, we saw that in the trailer. Obviously, by the looks of it, because he's a failed stand-up comedian, his mother's obviously going to get killed off. And then he's going to go crazy, because his mother's died. So, and then he's going to go on a crazy rampage, and then that's when he's starts turning into the Joker, and then he just goes on a rampage, and then he's got his Joker's henchmen and all those people like following him, and then it just continues on from there. It's a basic plot. It really is like the basic plot ever. It might be more advanced than that, but that's what I feel from watching that trailer that it actually does. I'm just making sure I'm not talking to myself, because usually at like an hour and 15 minutes it doesn't it's on an hour and 20 now, it doesn't cut off round about then, so I just have to keep an eye on it. But yeah, like I said, like that Joker film, which I did say, I basically said, it does look pretty basic. Obviously it's low budget, and I think it had like a 50 million budget. You can tell I don't think there's going to be any CGI in it, if any. There might be a little bit, but it doesn't look like there's any CGI whatsoever by looking at from when the trailer got released other week. But like I said, yeah, I've gone through quite a lot now about that. I'm going back into like the DC route. So, oh yes, actually I won't mention it because I was going to mention about the live stream not doing tomorrow, but this podcast is going to get put up after it, so I won't mention it. But yeah, if you've watched the live stream, I hope you liked it. I already know what I'm doing for it, so you're listening to this after the live stream, so I hope it went well and nothing and nothing went bad for it. I'll see you tomorrow anyway, because obviously I've recorded this on the Monday, so I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, if you're listening to this after that, it did go well and I didn't have any cock-ups with audition and have any cock-ups with my recording software, because I know the recording software I've got, it does like to play up a little bit. We'll just have to wait and see. Obviously, if I'll already say what I'm doing in it, because by the time this podcast gets put up, it's already going to be gone and gone, so you would have already know what's going on. So basically, I'm going to do it on memes. I'm going to look at different memes. I'm going to go into background of some more films. We're going to look up quite a lot of memes, so we're going to make it a meme edition podcast stream kind of thing. And the good thing about me doing it as a live stream and all, you can see my reactions to certain stuff and all, because I'll have the cam on in the corner, and then you'll have whatever I'm looking up, and then because I'm doing it as a live thing, I can discuss it properly. So then I'm not talking to myself on these podcasts, that's the reason why I wanted to do a live one. So that's the reason why, that one's getting done, so then I can discuss things. And then, and then it's going to give me a decision then whether, if I'm going to continue with these podcasts, or if after this final project's done for uni, if it's just going to be a one-off thing as a side project. So like I said, I'll decide after that live podcast thing which I'm doing, which like I said, it's already done now because this will get posted up afterwards, so that'll already be done and dusted by then. Like I said, hopefully it goes well. Like I said, it's Monday now, so it'll be tomorrow when it gets done, but this podcast will probably go up on Friday, so 4 days ago. But yeah, I'm going to test it overnight, make sure that it's working properly, so then I don't have any cock-ups when it comes round to doing it tomorrow. 4 days ago, Tuesday, 3 days ago, 3 days ago. So like I said, yeah, I'm doing that live thing, just, it's then giving me an idea if I should continue it on to see, how many, I already get quite a lot of viewing. It's just giving me an overall idea on if, I should continue it or not. So I think I'm going to end that podcast there actually, because I'm getting pretty tired and there's a film I want to watch. So I'll end it there. Obviously, like I said, I don't know if this is going to be the final episode or if I'm going to continue it. Like I said, with that live stream I do, I will decide then if I'm going to continue or not. If I do continue it, there'll be a month or two gap where I won't release anything, because I'll have to come up with some more ideas and plan it all out. So you'll already know my decision then, because I'll make the decision tomorrow, but it'll be Friday when this podcast goes up, so the decision will already be made by the time this podcast goes up anyway. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully it's not the last podcast, but like I said, it might be the last podcast. So if it is the last podcast, I hope you've enjoyed the 10 episode podcast that I have done, because I've gone into quite a lot of different stuff. Started off with what did I start off with? I started off with the state of DK, start of DC, and then I went on after doing the state of DC about my joke script, and then the next one I did about Charles playing a lot of different horror films. And then I went on to the Friend Zone and Relationship Advice one, and then I did my Paranormal Experiences podcast. Then I went the Aliens and UFOs, and obviously another Joker script update to tell you what's going on with that, which I will update, like I did say, next week. And then the music production one, and then the TV and film and Japanese film and music update with a video games podcast, which I uploaded today. Well, yeah, Monday, because it'll be Thursday, Friday when this pops up, so that's two. And then this one, which is the 10th one, which, like I said, if it's the last one, I hope you've enjoyed them, because I've spent a lot of time on making these podcasts, and I've had to research quite a lot of them before I've actually gone out there and made them, so then I'm getting the right stuff, especially for the Aliens Paranormal Experience one. Those two took me ages to research. I had to do a lot of dossier research for that, to make sure I'm getting my facts right and not I'm not coming out with false information and putting false information out there. But like I said, I hope you have enjoyed them. I've enjoyed making them, you know. They've been quite lengthy these last couple, because obviously, like I said, I'm not editing them down. But if you want like that alien one, like I did cut like more than half of it out. So if you do want a copy of it, you know, a copy of like the full length of it, you know, I can like send it across. I can like Dropbox it or something. The reason I cut more than half of it out is because it weren't like some of it was relevant, but it's like some stuff that I spoke about I didn't really want to like put out there. So that's why I cut it out, just for like certain reasons. I just like cut it out. But you know, if you do want to hear about that, like that experience that I did out in the woods about the UFO and everything else, there was more to it. But obviously, I spoke for about 25 minutes about it for that segment. But I did cut it out of the podcast, which I did put up for like, you know, reasons. Like I said, I didn't after you know, listening back to it when I was editing it down. I felt like, no, I don't want to put this up there because of just like certain reasons, you know, I didn't, like I said I didn't have like evidence to back stuff up, and if I came up with stuff that, you know, you'd be like, oh, so I just like cut it out. But you know, if you do want to listen to it, I can like Dropbox it, Google Drive it or whatnot, set it to private so no one else can view it, all the people that have the link for it. But like I said, yeah, this might be the last one, it might not. Like I said, I'll make a decision when I do that live stream. Obviously, like I said, the decision will be made by the time this podcast goes back up. So like I said, if it is the last podcast, like I said, I hope I've enjoyed them. You know, I've enjoyed making them. The last couple I haven't enjoyed as much because, you know, I was running out of ideas a little bit, because like I did like cover quite a lot of topics in like a couple of the podcasts, and because I was making them lengthy podcasts, and I have recorded about 40 hours altogether for these 10 podcasts, with more than half of it being cut. Some of it I lost because, like I said, I spoke for an hour and a half on one podcast. I spoke for about 3 hours on one podcast, and more than half of it Audition didn't record. So, you know, I have lost quite a lot of footage because of Audition messing up. So a lot of that I don't have anymore. And some of it was really good. There was like a full podcast I had on the Hollywood remakes, which didn't record. I did it for about an hour and a half, and I was going to put it up as raw. But Audition didn't record it, and because I was looking up like links and that, like I was doing with the last couple, I didn't notice that it wasn't recording. So that's gone. So that's why I said I wasn't going to go and do that again, because, you know, I haven't got time to do that now. I've got another project which is due, and, you know, I've got some other like side projects of my own that, you know, that I'm working on, which I need to get finished off, and, you know, I've got other things, you know, plans and all that are going on. So I just don't have time to do anymore. But my original plan was only to do 5 of these, but I've done 10. I've done double. So, you know, I think I've done enough now for these ones. I don't want to do too much, because too much can be, you know, too much, and not just that when this just all get marked. It's you know, I don't know if they've got to like listen to the entire podcast. I mean, they've got a good like 20-30 hours worth of podcasting to listen to. I don't think they'll mark it all. They'll just like listen to bits to it to make sure, you know, it sounds good. You know, if I put sound effects in some mute, you know, to make sure it sounds good. Obviously, these ones won't have any sound effects in it. It's just raw me talking. It's all of the horror ones. I'm only doing one horror one. I was originally supposed to do 5, but like I said, I don't have time to record 5 now. I could potentially do 2 of them. You know, I've got all of tomorrow to record. I've got a little time on Wednesday. I don't know if I've got any time on Thursday, because I'm working on some scripts which we need sending off for Friday for a film festival. And then Friday I'm working on some other project for Unit. And then on Saturday I'm going out because my mate's coming up from Leicester, and then I'm going home on Sunday. So I'm really limited on time now. Like tomorrow's the only like full day that I've got now that I could like do stuff. And like I said, I need to edit them as well once I record them. So you know, and I'd have to script them anyway. So you know, one full day, I can only potentially do 1. I could try and do 2, but I can't do 5 like I did initially plan out. I've just the time just isn't there anymore, which I'm hoping I don't get marked down for. But that's why I backed myself up and done 10 of these instead of 5. So then it like backs it up a little bit. Like, yeah, I said I'd do 10 podcasts in total, 5 of each, but I've already done 10. Plus I'm doing a horror, so I've done like 6. I've done 1 more than I originally said I was going to do, but I haven't done 5 horror. I've done 10 of the normal ones and then 1 horror. I mean, I did email my tutor just hoping, you know, when I get an email back, I'm hoping that's fine, because if he says I have to do all those 5, then I'm going to be a bit stuck, because like I said, I don't have the time. Like I said, I've got all tomorrow to do that one. I'll try and get 2 done. It just depends on how I'm feeling, if I'm not tired and that, and you know, if I get enough sleep tonight, and I don't like having a nap like I did do earlier on. So hopefully I'm going to like try and go to bed early tonight and get up early tomorrow, so then I can crack on with it and try and get 2 done. So it just depends if I can fall asleep early tonight. I'm going to try and like go to sleep at like 1:30, 2 o'clock, see if I can get up at about 10 o'clock. So just have to see what happens, and then like I said, I'm going to try and crack on with it. 1 will definitely get done and edited. I don't know which one it's going to be, because I did plan out to do 5. One of them was based upon anxiety and depression, and it's like a battle with the brain and all this. It was like a really weird like concept. So that was one of them. One of them was a sci-fi adventure of an alien invasion about one dude trying to survive on his own. Obviously there's everyone else in there, but you know, it's this one dude. It's based around this one dude, so it takes place, obviously, me trying to survive on his own in this alien invasion. So there was that I had a plan. There was a cabin in the woods like one which I'd planned, which was like an Evil Dead kind of thing. I also had Anxious Awakening, which was based on sleep paralysis. That was another podcast which I had in mind. I'm sorry for tapping that, because it wasn't coming up on the level bar on there, so I was making sure that it was working. It's coming up that it is recording, but the levels aren't coming up on there, so I can't actually see if I'm talking loud or whatnot. So I do apologise for that tap then. But like I said, yeah, there was those 4, and I also had another horror one, which was I can't remember what it was. I had 5 planned out anyway. Obviously, I had the sci-fi alien one dude trying to survive on his own in an alien invasion, and like the Earth's literally getting taken over. The cabin in the woods like one. The Anxious Awakening, which was, like I said, that was the anxiety depression one, trying to like battle with the brain. It was like a psychological like short horror like podcast film, whatever you want to call it, audio. And then obviously I said I had this sleep paralysis one, which I was going to do, which is like a battle with the demons. Like they're going to battle the inner demons with like a sleep paralysis episode. And like if they can't do it, then they end up dying. I can't remember which one the 5th one was, but they were really good ideas and concepts that I come up with, and you know, I wouldn't mind that, making them into short films actually. So I might end up doing that, making them into short films anyway when I do my masters in September, you know. Or I might even just like end up doing them over the summer, you know. I've already got 1 short film which I want to film over the summer, which is for a film festival. But those 5 things, you know, they're like concepts at the moment. I've already done like the plots and everything, and I already know how each one of them going to, so I could actually make them into short films. Obviously the alien one I can't, the alien invasion one I can't, but the other ones I can, if I can find a cabin in the woods somewhere. The sleep paralysis and the other one are easy enough to do. The other one that wouldn't be viable is the alien abduction, the alien invasion one. That one you wouldn't be able to make into a short film, because you need quite a lot of people, and plus, you know, you need really good like After Effects skills and that on there. You'd have to use a lot of green screen. I mean, if I was still in Leicester, it would have been, you know, if I was still at DMU, we would have been able to do it, because there's a massive green screen thing in there, but the green screen thing they have here, it's tiny, and you can't use it in your own personal time. You can only use it for projects, which is a bit gutting, because that's what I liked about DMU, because they had all these rooms. Like they had the massive green screen room, they had these TV studios and all this, and you could use them for your own personal projects. It didn't have to be for uni work. If they were free and no one else was using them, or didn't need them, and you wanted to film, you know, your own stuff for like a film festival or somewhere, you know, it's free and you can book it, they let you book it. And the same with the equipment as well. The equipment system here, you can't just book it out for your own personal use. It has to be for uni purposes. But back at DMU, which was AV Launch, you could just book it out for your own personal. You didn't need to get anything like signed off, like a sheet, get it signed off or anything. You just book it online, and then you go pick it up, and you know, they just say what's it for. Oh, it's my own personal personal project that we're doing, and if it's free and nobody else needs it for like uni work, they're like, yeah, it's free, yeah, you can use it, which me and Matt did do. That's what all those short films we did the Free Into the Dark short films, which I'm currently editing, which I did say in one of the podcasts into each one, which will be an hour and a half long, which is pointing into a film festival. We did also 4 other short films. We did the one in the woods, we did one in the abandoned building which we found, which was me like a found footage thing being constantly stuck in a loop. And then we did do the ghost one where I got possessed. That was in that was actually in a building at uni. Actually, it was a building which they don't use anymore, which is like on the top floor, which was really good because it was like it was really good because it was dark, and there's all these rooms you could go in, and there's all this space. So we like asked like one of the tutors like, could we like use it? This was this like short film idea that we had, and that'd be perfect. And they was like, yeah, you can use it. I mean. That's the good. I mean, I didn't like DMU in general, but because of all that stuff that you could do, that's what made DMU a good experience. But the rest of it was a bad experience. But with all the things that you could do at DMU, I mean, with all the rooms you could do, the equipment you can take out for your solo projects, doesn't have to be for uni work. If no one else is using it. And all the other stuff that you could do, that's what made it really good. I mean, and then you come here and you can't even. It's a good job I got my own camera back home in it, which I did mention that in another podcast. It's a good job I've got my own equipment and that back up there now, so I don't have to faff around with that. That's the stuff I'll be using for to make that short film and that over the summer for this film festival in October for a horror fest. It's not horror. It's not the horror festival. It's a Manchester horror festival thing, which I'm entering it into. The script, like I said, I did mention the scripts in the last podcast. Actually, if you've listened to it, I said about it. Darkness in the Woods. I'm currently still writing the scripts at the moment. It's nearly done. That's the one that I'm doing for the film festival, but I keep going back and forth to it. I worked on it in a couple of days actually because I've been working on more blogs, and then I've been working on these podcasts again. Well, now these are done, I can focus more on that now because I've pretty much done all of those, and I'm getting so many messages through. Like I said, right, I'm gonna end it there. I've been babbling on for like an hour and 40 minutes. Like I said, I don't know if these will continue. This could be the last one. Like I said, if it's been the last one, I hope you've enjoyed them. Like I said, I've enjoyed making them. Obviously, some of them I've stressed out about, like, especially this one. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do for it. I'm like, I'll have to like wing it, just like come up with some ideas and like wing it. So I think I've done pretty well. I've mentioned quite a lot. I think I've done pretty well for this last one. I thought it was only going to be like an half an hour one because I didn't know what I was going to say do for it, because like I said in some of the other podcasts I've mentioned like quite a lot of different things at once. So like I said, I hope you've enjoyed them. Like I said, I'll make a decision on that live stream, which by the time, like I've said like twice now, by the time this gets put up I would have already made a decision if I'm continuing with them or not. I probably won't do. Because I've already got other projects which I'm working on. Like I said, these scripts that I'm making and the short up films, I don't want to like do too much stuff over the summer. So I want to focus on stuff that's going in these film festivals, and then finish off this Joker Loves Harley script. So there's stuff which I really need to focus on. So it probably is going to be the last episode actually. I might continue like in the future, like end of year or something. I might like come back to it and like continue doing them, or just have to like see what happens, if I've got time to do them, if I'm doing other projects, if I've got the time to do them, then I'll happily do one like every 2 weeks. I won't do it a week. I might do like one every 2 weeks, like a 2-hour one, like once a month or something. I'll just have to see, what time frame I've got, if I can come up with any ideas or not. But like I said, I hope you've enjoyed listening to all of these over the last 2 months. Like I said, it probably will be the last one for now, but like I said, I might come back to them in the future if I can come up with some ideas, and like say once I've finished doing these projects that I'm currently working on at the moment, because I'm working on 2 short films. I'm over the summer. One of them is my own film which I've scripted and I'm directing, and another one is one of my mates' films which I'm directing, which is for another film festival over the summer. So I'm working on two half-an-hour short films over the summer. One I've already scripted myself because it's my own film and directing, and then the other one's one of my mates that I'm directing, so I'm doing like 2. So I'm already pretty jam-packed with them. They're going to take a good like month or two, like a good month each to film them, so that's like 2 months gone there. And then obviously, like I said, I want to finish this Joker Loves Harley script off, so I don't really have much time over the summer to be faffing around with any podcasts for now. So like I said, once the summer's done and like come like end of year, like I said, I probably might end up coming back to them in the future. So like I said, I hope you've enjoyed them. Like I said, I probably might end up coming back to them in the future. We'll just have to see what happens, but I hope you've enjoyed them, and if that's it for now, then I hope you enjoyed them. yeah, so like I said, I won't say it again. Like I said, you know, you've enjoyed them. Like I said, I won't say it again. I've said it like 4 times now that I might come back. I'm like I said, I'm 50-50 at the moment. I don't know where, because there's so many projects I want to do, and then there's this like feature-length script which I've been working on the last 5 years, which I've just finished doing, which I'm trying to get some funding for to film that as well. So like I said, I've got so many other projects which I'm working on. So you know, we'll just have to see what happens. You know, well, you know, I might end up just doing some like live podcasts, like I'm doing with, like I did with the other one. I might just like do them if I've got some like time free for like an hour or somewhere. I might end up doing them instead of like doing like pre-recorded stuff and then like putting it up onto there. But like I said, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed them. It's probably going to be the last one for a while, or it might be the last one full stop, and it probably won't be the Wonder Dream podcast. It might be a different like podcast if I do like end up doing them in the future, or it might just continue as Wonder Dream season 2. I might do them as like seasons, but you'd have to like I said, you'd have to give me at least, what are we on now, April, May, June, July, August. You'd have to give me at least 6 months before I do end up, if I do end up like doing another one. So then I can come up with ideas, because obviously the next 6 months I'm jam-packed with like other projects and I'm doing other stuff, so I don't have the time. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed them. You know, if you haven't like, if this is like the first podcast you've like listened to, you've got another 9. So get on them. So you know, get on them. Some of them are quite interesting, especially the paranormal one and the alien one. Those are like the 2 ones that I really did enjoy recording. So you know, those 2 I would recommend listening to. I think they're 2 of the best ones that I've recorded. The State of the DC one's a decent one. That's the first one that I did, and the last one as well was a decent one, which I recorded the other day. So like I said, you know, I hope you've enjoyed them. That might be it for now, but like I said, I might return to them in the future. But like I said, thank you for all the listeners and all that, and all the comments and all that, and the forums and all that I've got over the course of the last 2 months, and everyone that's been listening to the podcast, you know, giving me feedback, and that's on how can I improve each one. And you know, I've had a blast making them over the last 2 months, and you know, getting to know a couple of people, and obviously a couple of people I've already signed up onto one of my short films now, so I'm happy I've actually done these, because I've actually managed to get some cast members for the short film of mine, and you know, a couple of other people for the music stuff that I'm making. So you know, I'm glad I did do them, because you know, I've networked with quite a lot of people over the course of the last 2 months making these podcasts, so I'm a bit pleased about that. You know, I'm happy about that's happened. So you know, that's a positive thing that I can put into my evaluation thing for the final project. You know, that I networked with quite a lot of people. You know, that I'm going to be working on a couple of projects with quite a few of you that have been listening to these podcasts. So you know, I look forward in the next couple of months or so, you know, working on these projects with, you know, the people that have been messaging me. You probably are listening to the podcast now when it does get put up. But yeah, like I said, I can't wait to work on these projects with you. The people, I'll just mention this quickly. The people which are the 2. I'm sorry, I forgot your names now. This is so bad. No, Amy and what were you called? Amy and Ben, that have been 2 of the actors in that short film of mine. When this podcast gets up, I'll be sending you the scripts over the weekend, so Saturday or Sunday. So this podcast will go up on Thursday or Friday. So when you do listen to this, because I know you've listened to all of them, when you do listen to this, I will send you the scripts on Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to try and finish it. I've tried. I mean, it's pretty much done, but it's just like a draft. I'll send it across to you, so you know, you can start learning your lines and whatnot over the next month or so. So then we can get a rundown or whatnot of it, and then I can meet up with you, because I know you both said you live in York, actually, so it comes in handy. So then I can meet up with you and go through it, and then, you know, we can discuss what's happening with it, because I've got a little bit of funding for it, so that's good news. Like I said, yeah, I'll see Amy and Ben. I'll send those scripts to you over the weekend, so you can have a look through them. It'll just be a draft for now, because obviously the script will be done when we start filming in June. So for now, it'll just be a draft, so then you can look over what's what, and you know, the plot of it and what's going on. So I'll send that over to you, and then once the fully scripted script's done, I will send that over to you a couple of weeks before we start filming, so then you can get to know your lines and that, and then come like end of June, we can crack on and film it. So like I said, yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. You know, I've enjoyed it for like I said, networking reasons, really, because I'm working quite a lot of projects with you now that are people are listening into that now, so that's a big positive towards this. That's why I was 50-50, like I said, if I should continue them, because you know, I could like get more people listening into them, and then, you know, I could network and, you know, jump onto other projects, you know, like say, I have had some dude message me about a short film he's doing and he wants me to direct it. So, you know, that's the reason why I'm 50-50. I'm like, should I like do them? Because not only is it helping me out, but it's helping other people out, and also, like, say if they're in my situation, you know, they want to become a script writer or director, and they like need someone to direct these like short films, or even it's like a feature-length film. I know a couple of people, like one of my mates is now directing a feature-length film. He's just finished filming it. He's been filming it last 2 months. It was this romantic comedy film which he was doing, and he's directed it. It was down Cornwall for 2 months. They managed to get a 1.5 million budget for it, so he's just finished filming that, which that's pretty big actually. So yeah, he's just finished directing that. That's the dude. That's one of my really close mates that I'm directing his short film for him. So yeah, we'll just have to see how that goes. But like I said, yeah, I've rambled on now about that. So like I said, I hope you've enjoyed them all. If you haven't listened to them all, if you just like jump straight onto this because this is the one that's uploaded, you know, there's another 9, you know, just look through them. I've made a playlist with all 10 episodes in them, so you know, I don't think every podcast will appeal to everyone, but you never know, it might do. It depends on what your interests are. So like I said, I've enjoyed doing these, you know, networking purposes, and, you know, talking to other people, and, you know, seeing what everyone else is doing and everything. So hopefully it's not the end. Hopefully I do end up coming back to these podcasts in the future. But if it is, I've enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it. And like I said, I can't wait to work on the projects which I've already like set up with some of you over the summer, and a couple of them in the new year. So thank you everyone for listening in that has done. It's been a blast. So hopefully I'll see you again in the future in these podcasts.